Great day, great day, great day over here at Lucky Gray. Great day, y'all. How y'all doing today? You know, welcome over here to Lucky Gray Cosmetics, where I believe in diving deep in order to pull forth your true, authentic beauty. But in order to do so, we have to mask off. We have to go within and pull forth our true, authentic, God given beauty. You don't want that glow just for a little while. You want that glow of a lifetime, you know. So, for many that don't know, I am an esthetician, right? So, estheticians are good at putting masks on and taking them off, but we're for to go a little deeper. I'm diving a little deeper over here at Lucky Gray Cosmetics. We're going to go deep within to where you may have, some things that you hold that's within you that's keeping you from being the best version of yourself. So many people ask me about my skin, like, what's your regimen of this right here? I know because you're an esthetician that this right here, and I'll be like, honey, this only water. I'm gonna tell you how I get this glow. I got this glow from doing inner healing work on myself. So over here at Lucky Gray Cosmetics, we believe in diving deep in order to pull forth your true authentic beauty, meaning that you have to go within and that little inner child that you left behind and that you got so close and that you don't forgot about. You want to go back and pick that child up. You want to go back within and face some of them inner things that you got, and so that you can release yourself and be free, so that you can be lightweight. God intended for us to be lightweight, so why not get it? And in order to do so, you have to be authentically you. But in order to be authentically you, you have to put the mask down, as in the mask that we become of the people when we hide who we truly are, because it don't fit the narrative of what people or family would want you to look like or what it's supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? So let's dive, because I believe in being authentic. So let's dive. Let's talk, y'all. Let's dive. Many don't know about me because they assume because you don't look like you've been through anything that, you know, you don't look like you've been through nothing. Just look like you had a silver spoon. No, sweetheart. I'm gonna tell you. Let's dive. Let's talk, because many people don't know. You know, when I was a child, because I feel like everything starts from when you were a child, but it's gonna tie in some type of way to where we are amongst and you are fighting against spiritual, like they say, the principality. You fighting against the spiritual realm. This is not just a physical. So you need to understand it can start as soon as you are a child, right? And the reason so many people probably look at me strange when they ask me, well, they ask me about traditions. I let them know quickly. I don't do tradition. I don't repeat traditions. I'm somebody that believe in starting my own traditions. I don't do tradition, unless it's something healthy that come out of it. And I'm gonna give you the reason why. The reason I don't do traditions, anytime that we have to stand with traditions to where a child has to be silenced and can't speak their truth, anywhere to where a tradition to where you have to not be yourself, not being able to be who God intended you to be and not what the family wants you to be. I don't do that. We're not doing that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you have a lot of times people in families that back the people that's doing the essaying in the family. They let them go scot free. So a lot of times that's why I don't do traditions. Traditions come with a lot of hidden secrets. And if people are not going to be truthful, then we're not doing that when it comes to those type of secret that's within the family. So oftentimes I'm always going to be the one that's out for starting my own traditions when it comes to my boys and stuff like that. But anywho, when I was younger, as a child, I was put in a place to where, put in a sick situation to where I was getting essayed as a child in the family, right? Okay. And I was probably around, I want to say 5 or 6 when it was going on. And I remember when it happened, waking up to it in the middle of the night, and an older cousin was doing it, right? You get what I'm saying? And when I let the adult know, which was the matriarch in the family at that time, when I let the adult know what took place and what happened, I was told that it was my fault. Now, as we go along, I'm also be showing you different ways on how, the enemy will try to keep you at your lowest, so ride with me, y'all. We're going places. So I was made to believe now at 5 or 6, you tell a 5 or 6 year old that it's your fault, right? That you've been handled in a way that you didn't ask for. Because I never experienced anything like that as a child before. So I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it wasn't right. Or you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a person that's sitting on a chair that's getting themselves off while you waking up to that. Um, and then you let the main person know, the head of the family know, and they blame you for it. They curse at you and blame you for it. So that made me feel some type of way. So for a long time, I carried that with me, not understanding what the enemy was trying to do at that younger age. It was a lot going on because they have to start with you while you were a child in order to try to break you from becoming who you're supposed to be as an adult. Check that now. Check what I'm saying. So because I was visited at that time. That's before ended up going through foster care and different stuff like that, as in with being taken away from my mom at a young age due to supposedly, oh, she's crazy. It's funny people become crazy when they discover that witchcraft is being performed, when they discover that it's close people that's in the family. Because oftentimes witchcraft can't really work unless it's somebody close up that can get to you to where it can work. Get what I'm saying? But once you discover that something is going on of that magnitude, then you become the threat, you become the enemy to people that's not awakened to see what is truly going on spiritually. Because they can also do other spells to keep the illusion of other people's eyes closed. But we'll dive into that a whole nother day. Because like I said, over here at Lucky Gray Cosmetic, baby, I believe in y'all healing. And if my story can help y'all heal and let y'all know that y'all are not the only ones going through it. And another reason that I'm speaking on this, on a scale like this, and I decided to take Lucky Gray Cosmetics up a notch, is because I was called into the position to do so. The Most High, Almighty Creator, Source, and my divine ancestors of the highest vibration, baby, called me and said, hey, it's time. It's time for you to cut out what you're doing, and it's time to help others. You are called on a major scale to help others. You got stories that can help others, okay? So we're going to talk and dive. And I don't care who the people that I come across. In some type of way, I affect them in a way to where they have stories. They feel so comfortable when they talk to me to want to tell me things about them. I'm talking about even kids. I don't have kids to tell me some things that they ain't even never told their parents to this day. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I encourage them to tell their parents. And I just have people that feel so comfortable, and I also I tell them some of my story, and they be like, well, wow, I would have never known that. And I be like, I know. So God was like, no, I need you to why just keep that being, basically that's like to me being selfish, because I'm only sharing it with on a smaller scale when I can share it on a granular scale to help people, to help others that may be going through the same thing, to help free them as an adult so that they can be lightweight, to have that glow of a lifetime. Over here at Lucky Gray, baby, we're trying to get y'all to have that glow of a lifetime. But I always take everything back to source. Take everything back to your spiritual team, okay? And I'm not a professional, so seek professional help if you need it. But I'm over here to tell my stories, okay? Okay. So, back to the story. Well, I left off at. Oh, okay. So, let her know. So I dealt with that for a while, and I ended up going into, well, when foster care happened, right? And we was end up being taken away from my mom. That's when a lot of other things started, y'all. I'm talking about a lot of things. From being mistreated to where I really didn't have the clothes and to put on. I started running away from my grandma's house. At that point, I really started running away. And the reason that I was running away is because I was being mistreated. And if you got to worry about somebody that's there and you can't sleep at night as a child, you got to sleep with one of your eyes open because you got this almost a grown adult person that's doing strange things to you as a child. And if you don't told the matriarch of the family and the matriarch of the family tell you that it's your fault, then what's really going on? So over time, the happiness that I had as a child, because I'm still full of life, and I had to get back to find that inner child to set her free so I can go back to having this type of lifetime, being happy again. And it took for me to choose me first. But back to the story. So over time, I lost the inner child, that inner glow, that happiness was seeming to die on the inside. Because when you being taken away from your mom trying to protect you from the type of witchcraft that people was doing towards you, right? Okay, because the enemy be busy on you at a younger age to try to silence you so that you won't be setting yourself free. But we're gonna dive into that. So the inner glow within me started to die out more and more. But that was the plan of the enemy anyway, is to make me get to that point to say, just become mute, become silent, to become bitter, to become evil. Okay, so throughout time, as I was continuing to get mistreated because I was still the youngest, so I would get picked on by cousins. And let's be real, you had, a lot of people probably went through it too, to where you was doing that hide and go get and whatever like that, and you had cousins and stuff that was there too that was doing that. So now, you was doing stuff that you ain't have no business doing as a child, that you ain't even learned from adults. You was getting it from other kids or the older people that was in the family that was doing it, right? So you getting beat on, mistreat, no lie. The clothes and stuff I was supposed to have, I didn't have. I was sleeping on the floor. And them floors and them old wood, them wood floors would creak it too. And and let's be real, yeah, it was mice in the house too, yes. So oftentimes I was getting mistreated. So the first thing they want to say is, because I was running away, I was running away from the house in order to try to find safety. But let them tell it, I was running away because you're being fast. No, I was running away because I needed protection. And if the authority figure that was in the home and everywhere else was failing me, because everybody doing what they wanted to do as an adult themselves, who's gonna watch the kids, or who's gonna make sure that you seen about? So oftentimes I would run away and go to friends' house. This is no lie. I would run away so that I can just get a good night of sleep. And pay attention when your children grades are failing and stuff are happening in school, because when I was in school, my grades was failing, y'all. No lie. Because when I show up to school, I didn't want to be there because I was sleepy. I was sleepy if from the nights of when I did have to go and make myself be there at my grandma's house. And when I was there, I was getting mistreated, getting talked down to. I'm talking about just talk ugly to y'all, nasty, by kinfolk. And then look where I had to sleep at. If I ain't got nowhere to really sleep that's comfortable, what I'm supposed to do? So I would go to a friend's house that had way more than me in that small town in order to have a place to lay my head that was safe, okay? And after so many days, I would go back there, and then I would get beat again, and then I run away again. Because it's like, every time they want to beat me about something, I'm finna run away again, y'all. I'm talking about run away. And it got to the point to where it kept being lies told on me. I had a teenager dude, y'all. And Lord knows, I try not to judge people by the way he look, but F that motherfucker, he ugly, and what he said about me was ugly. And I hate the crowd, because it's like, I dislike that to happen for any child. Even though I'm here from it, just to think about anybody child that have to be put through what you have to go through is sad, But we're gonna let them tears fall, baby, because we believe in getting that cleansing over here. Thank you, God. So a dude lied on me. I'm talking about ugly. Lord knows this is my witness. I come home one day, finally having a little happiness that I had on caught again, because the inner happiness that I had as a child had went away because of the people I was surrounded by, right? So it was killing that light. It was dimming it. It was doing everything that the enemy wanted to do. The enemy was literally trying to squeeze that light out of me, because I am the light, okay? I ain't even gonna sit up there and shrug it, baby. I'm the light. I am. So, honey, I be goddamn. The dude lied. Don't you know I had a cousin to tell me, well, Your fast ass, I heard that you F such and such. I'm looking like, who is that? I don't even know who the person was, y'all. Look, I'm like, I don't even know who the age that is. I don't even know who the person was at that age. Just because, and I guess it's gonna. Well, I ain't making no excuse for him because no, nigga, you nasty in your day. You probably already don't caught your karma, and may the force be with you and God on that. But of course, if you always see a child that's out in the street, especially a female, because men don't usually get that much of a negative, word about them. But when you see a young female that's always in the street, the first thing you're going to think is that she's perceived to be hot. She's perceived to be doing this because sometimes it's actually what females are doing. But for the sake of what I had going on, I was leaving the home where it was being done at to actually go somewhere safe. So oftentimes you may see me wandering the street because I hated to go back to the house. But Lord is my witness because God kept me safe. Me sleeping around, that wasn't what I was doing, because if it was already going on at a place, I didn't want nobody touching me. You have some people that become hyperactive after being SA'd as a child, or you have some that become hypo. My thing was I became hypo at that point because I didn't want to be touched. You get what I'm saying? That was the whole reason for why I stayed away and stuff like that, and then being mistreated. So after that was done, and of course they want to hit you and stuff like that because, oh, that's what you're doing. It got to the point to where if I try to explain myself and I'm trying to tell y'all that it's not true, why am I fit to explain myself? So even at that age, I start learning like, it's no reason. I was probably about 7 or 8 then. It was like, it's not even a reason for me to try to explain, because anytime you try to tell an authority figure or somebody older than you, or you try to explain that it's not true, you made to silence. They try to silence you, okay? So, of course, anytime that you are placed in another home, because I went from foster care to being placed into my grandma's home, right? So anytime that you're placed into your family home, you still have to go through court dates for those that don't know. So we still had court dates and stuff to come up. And back then, my dad was still part of the police force, right? And he was trying to get, supposedly been trying to get custody of me. So supposedly, I don't know why I wasn't placed there to begin with, but hey, we're gonna let God handle all of that, okay? Because for whatever, y'all have to learn to give people grace. I don't say that mean that you got to deal with people. No, you ain't got to deal with them because you get them grace. You need to get them grace so that you can heal and do whatever that you need to do that's within you and move forward. And I don't go backwards to try to figure out what lie. That's not my part to do. My job is not to judge you on that type of scale. I let judgment be passed swiftly by the Most High. So that's not my job in order to stay stuck on that right there. My job is to make sure that I'm going back within and fight whatever the fuck I need to fight to get it up off me so that I can heal and be the best version of myself so I can continue to have this beautiful glow, okay? And I want y'all to get that glow too, but you're going to get there. And it's not easy to done overnight, because I have to put my little disclaimers in there as we go throughout. But back to the story. So you go to court whenever you're living with people. So over time, as we got closer to the court dates, I was being coached on what to say. Like, they'll get sweeter and nicer. The matriarch of the family becomes sweeter. Well, this right here and that right there. And be so nice to me. And now all of a sudden I got on something decent to go to court with, right? Check that. And every time I started paying attention to the routine, and every time after we been on left court and so long we make it back, it's right back to the exact same pattern of being like on a hamster wheel of the same BS. So at this point I was past fed up, y'all, and I had lost all of the inner kid happiness that was inside of me, right? And we had another court date that was coming up. Okay, check this. So we end up going to that next court date. By now, I'm on to the game. That's what was going on. I'm on to it now. Baby, we go to that court date and the judge go to talking. And it was just something on the inside of me saying, you better say it. You better say it now. This is your time to say it. Because God always going to know the best time to move, especially when, you know, because God can see what's up ahead. The Most High know what's, Holy Spirit know what's up ahead. Something say you better speak and you better speak now. And when I tell y'all, I was like a child that had been at work 25 years without a day off. I said, if you send me back there to that house, you send me back there, you ain't, I'm telling you, you send me back to the house, it gonna be some things going on to where I know I'm gonna be back here, and it's not gonna be up under the good reasons. I'm gonna take some people. That's why I was back then as a child. I was like, you send me back there because I was so fed up. And now the court is in uproar. Now they like order, and my grandma was like, she's lying, oh, she's lying. And now my daddy looking like, okay, well, you know, because he was there too. But I'm looking like, why? Like, it's just not like, why you still ain't try to get your child? It don't matter that it was going good at somebody else's house. Why you still ain't try to get your child? You get what I'm saying? I don't care what they telling you what it's supposed to be, as in, oh, they doing good, because you can always ask an adult what's going on at the house with the kids, and they'll say everything good until you actually ask the child. Let children speak for themselves, okay? Let them speak to you and tell you if it's really good, and pay attention to their behavior, how they act, what's changing about them. So, honey, all type of lies was told on me as a child. Oh, she fast, she this. They weren't never telling what was actually going on at the home. They made it seem like because people would see me in the street at a late hour, why such and such out there? Why that child out there? Blah, 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 blah. We seen her crossing over there, da, 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 da. Oh, she hot, she fast, can't do nothing with her. That's a lie. All that time, it wasn't that you couldn't do nothing with me. It was the fact that I want to allow what y'all wanted to continue. I want to allow it to continue. That was the problem, because I would go somewhere else to try to seek safety. What I felt was supposed to be a protector, as in safety, because that's when you had them phones that was on the wall back then, to where a person can go in the other room and still listen to your conversation and try to, you know, force you to say certain things and different stuff like that. But anywho, back to that story. Man, so I'm at we at the courthouse, and I'm just like, y'all send me back there. I ain't going back. Y'all ain't send me back there. I'm getting mistreated there. I'm getting abused there. When other kids got a chance to do stuff, I was made to have to go in the yard and pick them darn figs, do stuff that, like, okay, yeah, they give you a little what's the name. No. While other people was enjoying stuff, I was just like the evil, like the Cinderella story, like the wicked stepsister or something, getting treated bad. Just because I still love my mama. I still had that inner shine and glow that the enemy was still trying to put out at that age. And let me tell you how. Because the enemy, the same type of demonic entity that was within, or that was already probably pre-assigned along my path anyway, probably came from another lifetime, y'all. You have to dive deep. You have to understand that everything is spiritual. You have to wake up to that. Everything is spiritual. So the job it was trying to do was make me go into so much of stuff going on to make me silence like that, because it got me, no lie, it got me to the point to where when after that court, and I had to go back there to that house, like, to get my stuff together, because it was then put, like, my daddy had to get me at that point, because I had already showed my age at that courthouse and told them what time it really was. And people, it had to be taken into consideration. I don't care how many lawyers they paid. I don't care how many people that they were sleeping with to try to make it go in their way. God had my side. God had my back. So, you know, I had to be released from there. I got sent back to her house. I got my stuff from there, and then I went and lived with my dad. Now when we into the next phase of still how the enemy try to work, right? So at this point now, I'm probably 11 years old. Yeah, I think I was 10 or 11 when I went to move with him. At this point, at that stage, y'all, it got to the point to where I was shut down when it came to showing my bubbly personality, because I was just like real happy back then. Like, happy. When I say my mama, we were happy. Wasn't nothing that we didn't want for. We was happy. So that light, that dim got, like, I'm talking about, drug all the way down when I had to live with my grandma then, when I was forced to live there and different stuff like that, and being beat and stuff like that. So it just got to the point, y'all, to where when my daddy got a chance, because that's how I was able to live with him, right? And while living there, I was kind of like still, I wasn't really expressive. I was still like, you know, closed mouth, and not my bubbly self. And over time, I was starting to break out the shell just a little bit, like, coming to be happy. So I finally got to the point to where I felt like I can speak and tell my dad, like, hey, Dad, this went on while I was there. That this dude was, as in kinfolk, was doing this to me while I was there, right? At that age, he would always, well, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. I ain't understanding then that he was saying it in a way to keep from talking about it, because you ask me now, I look back, I would consider that a handler. Now, if y'all don't know what that is, you got to go and look that up. I would consider that now a spiritual handler when I think about it, when I look at it. Because the reason I say, let me just finish with the story. So, I was trying to teach as I went along to try to see it, but a lot of people ain't gonna understand it if you're not, if you don't grasp the concept with, looking at things from a spiritual eye, or being awake in some to fully understand what I mean by a handler. Some people will and some people won't. So, and yes, it could be through your kinfolk, it could be through your family members, it could be through your mom or dad. Yes, it could be just that close to you. When an entity is on them or used, yes, it can jump on them, or if they are unhealed. That's why it's so important, and I push for y'all to heal and reflect on your inner side so that you can heal some things about yourself. So that you won't become a easy target for a vessel for the entities to attach to you and use you to operate through. Okay, so over time I started saying, well, Daddy, I want to let you know about this right here that happened right here, because I got to the point to where I can open up and speak a little bit more, because I felt like I was safe. I'm with him. So it's like, whew. And when I speak to him about it, he would shut it down like, So me, I was already in a fragile state. I would take it as in just automatically shut back down, like clam down. Not understanding that's what the enemy wanted me to do. And the enemy was using him in order to do so. Check that T. So over time, I would slowly find myself, like, kind of, start back to get bubbly. Start back to have my voice. And every time I would want to speak on a situation about, hey, I really want to express to you, like, what all went on and what was going on, because that was me needing to voice to get it out. Every time I would seem like I was needing to heal, as in release it, and be told, Lisa, it's okay, or you safe, or this right here, I will always get shut down on the subject, y'all. Every time I wanted to express myself, I would get shut down on it. But that's what the enemy wanted, because the enemy wanted me to shut up and stay quiet. No, bitch. No. So, over time, I was still bubbly. I just looked at it as, okay, cool. Because at this point, I'm all the way open now. Like, I'm still kind of happy. I'm able to do things. I'm able to, kind of sort of live a normal life. Because, okay, I'm not getting mistreated. I do have my own bed, sort of. I got my own bed there. I got my own room. So it's like, okay. But, my dad used to play with me and stuff like that, as in rough. And it got to the point to where I used to wouldn't say anything, but it got to the point to where I started saying stuff. I'd be like, hey, you too rough. And he'd be like, nobody rough with you. You just too soft as a female. I'm looking like, I am a female, and that's too rough. You're playing too rough. But y'all know, like, you don't know, but I'm just telling you, I used to say it in the most humble, like the most fragile way, because back then I looked up to my dad, because I really, really loved my dad. Even though, he didn't really, take up that type of time with me, I really loved him. You don't see that as a child. You just know that they come over to visit, but they ain't really visiting you. They visiting the parent. So if I was to speak disrespectful to him, that's crazy, because he ex-military and he ex-police officer. So he already gonna look mean. So I was already coming from a fragile state, or coming from where I just went through with being at my grandmother's house and stuff like that. So I used to be like, well, Daddy, that hurt. Like, you hit me too hard. Oh, girl, that ain't hurting, blah, 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 blah. So, anywho, time will pass and, go on and stuff like that. And I would, like, if he had girlfriends and stuff like that, it was like, I still ain't have a chance to have nobody to literally take up the real time back then. it was still made for me to feel like I had to protect myself, basically. You get what I'm saying? Even from him, and not from a way of being essayed, no, from a way of, if I'm telling you that this is going on, that you're hurting me playing rough, and I'm a female, if I'm telling you that that is rough, it's rough. Don't do it, you know? And then be made to feel like I told you something that bothered you, and be made to feel like I got to walk on ice now. I mean, walk on eggshells in the house. I didn't really like that, you know? So oftentimes I would try to make myself please him in a way to where I would, okay, not complain so much, even though I wasn't even really complaining, because I really didn't talk. You get what I'm saying? I was happy, but I didn't complain about nothing, because I felt like the situation where I was way better off than where I came from. So I didn't want to ruin that by saying, okay, you playing too rough or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So I used to try to just, thank you God for these tears flowing. Just to think about the childhood, just to think about any child that has to go through something like that. You know, it's sad. And I'm a compassionate person, and I have, you know, I still have a heart. I'm still a loving person regardless of anything I've been through. I still keep my intentions pure and my heart be pure, right? So over time, it got to the point to where I'm trying to see which part I want to tell. Not which part I want to tell, because I'm gonna tell it all, but I'm trying to see as in, did that happen before or after that part? Because over time, it didn't matter who he dated and stuff like that. It put me in a place to where I seen my dad like he was a player. You know, I don't judge him from whatever he did when he was a player, because whatever he was unhealed from caused him to do what he was doing. No, this ain't me making excuses for him. This is me looking at it in a way of to make sure that I stay free, because I have to look at things from a spiritual eye and not just from, oh, woe is me. No, what's within that person to cause that person to operate the way that they operate? Because like I said, if you are unhealed, you are open vessel for different many entities to attach to that person to try to operate through in order to get to you. So that's what I'm coming with it from. And so when he would date many women and different stuff like that, he wasn't noticing or paying attention that I was always watching. I always, like, I was very observant as a child. When I tell you I observe everything, some people say no's and nope, because I don't even care about your business. I just happen to be someone to where I get to see every darn thing that's going on, and I'll be like, what is that? You know, God will have literally to where I see everything that be going on without even trying to. My mom used to always say, I don't care. You ain't never have to be in the household and I can hide something. You will come home and go straight to what you never knew was hid. You will go straight to it. All your life you can find stuff without even being able to. So like you got the nose for you automatically know what stuff at without even being in the home, not even being in town. You would know what stuff at. That I been on here. Okay, but anywho. So my dad would literally be talking to other women, right? And they could know each other and don't even know that they probably dating the same person. You get what I'm saying? So I had known adapted in my mindset that well, before I allow a man to do me like that, I'm gonna do him first. Meaning that, keep in mind, at this point I still wasn't active with sex yet, because I was still kind of, you know, closed off from that right there. And so when I started dating, that became, well, the trust issues had already don't started being, you know, it begun when I was going through what I was going through at my grandma's house. So it had already started. Now this just added an extra layer onto it, because now it's looking like, oh wow, this somebody I look up to, and this is what they doing to women. So now it painted in my head that, hey, if I know that I can't trust you and I'm looking for you to do the right thing, and he's not even knowing that I'm observing this type of stuff, because he's so in his own world. That's why you have to be careful. Kids are all impressionable and they're watching. So it made me literally not trust a man. So I was like, you know what, baby, I got to get you before you get me. So the trust to a man, it was a no. I used to have older men try to holler at me, and I remember my daddy used to tell me this part now. Ain't nothing that you can offer older man except for what's between your legs. So if you got an older man trying to holler at you, what y'all conversation gonna be like on the phone when y'all talking? Think about it. Y'all ain't gonna have nothing to talk about that he really, you know, So when he said that, that dawned on me that, hey, anytime an older man was trying to holler at me, and keep in mind he was on the police force back then, so anytime an older man tried to holler at me, one thing I was learning too, I was observing. Older men had the tendency of buying and giving you stuff back then. The younger dudes wanted to just, have sex with you and then want to buy you stuff, right? So these older men try to come around and, doing whatever the enemy was trying to send them on their mission on. I wasn't going for the shit. So I had them like, look, it was like Army, Navy, Marine bringing stuff in. I kid you, and I used to tell my dad, why the military men seem like they want to talk to me? Like, I ain't want nobody that's like you. That's what I used to say, because he was ex-military. I used to be like, I don't want nobody like you. But only dudes that kept trying to holler at me was the ones that was either going off to the military or that was already part of a military branch. And then you had them old nasty men that was around town that you wouldn't think like trying to, like, they look so innocent, but then they actually trying to get at them children. And back then we had them Nokias, we had them beepers. Look, I'm telling myself now, which I don't mind, baby. This a beautiful 40, all this. So I had a Nokia phone that had the light up antenna on it that would run hot so quick. I had a beeper, and I had what they call it, sideways or whatever it called. So I would get all kind of stuff dropped off from jewelry, Jordans, like clothing and stuff like that. And he'd be like, well, where you getting all this stuff from? And blah, 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 blah. Well, I was getting gifts. That's why I'd be like, well, I'm getting my gifts. Like, so anytime when the older man would start saying, well, hey, baby girl, I'm thinking that we need to meet up or something like this, or blase, blase. I'd be like, oh, my daddy don't find out about you. So you know what they'll do? I'm talking about, they won't call back. Anytime they was trying to meet up and wanting to do some nasty stuff, baby, the farthest they were going to get is on that phone, because I'd be like, oh, they knew that my dad was part of police force, because I'd be done started off with that anyway. I'd be like, my daddy don't find out about you, and blase, blase, blase. Them men will hang up and not call back, and I'll be done got my free stuff, and baby, I was balling in school because he didn't want me to have a job in school. And I'm like, that's crazy. If my grades are not failing, why can't I have a job in school? That was crazy. To me, that was weird and crazy. I don't know. Because if I'm making the grades in school, give somebody an opportunity to show that they can't do it. And that was my logic. That's why I used to tell him, you keep telling me no, but for what reason are you telling me no if we got a bus that, the city bus that's outside the house that can get me to the job? And I got friends that was very supportive in school that worked at the same place. So, anywho, overtime went on some more, and he went to playing again, and it was rough. And I said, well, Daddy, stop, that hurt. And he got upset. Oh, woo woo woo, because by then I had found my voice. Not disrespectful, but I found my voice. And now I'm back into the voice like I'm speaking now. No, that hurt, stop. Then it became an argument. So I'm like, at the end of the day, no, I'm gonna stand up for me, because I feel like everybody else everything around me don't fail. So I'm like, no, at the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for me, because ain't nobody speaking up for me now that I'm here with you. I got to stand on me for me. I'm like, so no, that hurt. So it got to the point to where he kicked me out, y'all. Kicked me out. Look, and I was in my 11th grade going to the 12th grade. He kicked me out that summer, right? And I ended up staying at a god sister house. And the dude I was dating back then, he graduated 2 years before I did. So he had a car and he was already working. So anytime that he wasn't working, when he wasn't working, he would take me to school. And whenever he had to work, I would use my god sister car to get to school, because I was like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna graduate. I knew how important it was to graduate, so I would still get up and make sure that I was going to school, and I hadn't got a job anyway, working at working at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was my first job. Shout out Chick-fil-A. Hey, Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A was my first job. I ended up getting that job or whatever, but I ended up getting that job still while I was in school in 11th grade before I got kicked out, because my friend bought the application home, and after school, cause my daddy was never home anyway. He was never home. So if I'm there, I'm like, shoot, I was in the dance line and flag line, stuff like that. So the flag line, and I traded doing the next year. I ain't do no, like, get onto the dance team and the flag line team. I ain't do none of that. I just made sure to get a job or whatever, because it was stuff that I wanted, that I felt like other kids had, that I wanted too, that he wasn't buying it. So I was like, and I didn't want to keep getting it from the men, because that's entertaining. That was energy going out. So I wanted to like show like why. So I snuck and got a job, right? And once he found out about it, he was like, what you doing with that job, or blah blah blah. I was like, because how can you say that not to do something if you didn't give me a chance to show my worth, to prove to you that I can do it and go to school? Because that was the whole thing. I was like, let me prove to you that I can do it and go to school. If my grades go to failing, then you could say not to get a job, let it go or whatever. But that wasn't the case. He just wanted me not to have it at all. I'm looking like, that's crazy. If I'm able to do all this other stuff out here in the world, that you let me go to parties, you let me do anything, long as I just let you know the truth of what I'm doing or where I'm going, why I can't have a job? You get what I'm saying? That didn't make sense to me. Because it's like, if my grades wasn't slipping, let me prove to you. But it was a no go, no show. For whatever those reasons were, whatever his reasons was, that was his reason. You got to follow the rules, and when you're in their household, so follow the rules. So, well, I could have been doing a lot of other worse things. So, wow, she stuck and got a job. Okay, so I left that job. But anywho, now speed the story back to where it was. So I was still making myself get up and go to school. Not make myself, baby. I said that was a requirement. So I would call my dad, y'all, and reach out to him. Because it still stemmed from a place of me finding my voice. Because I found my voice and speaking up for myself, telling him that hurt, how hard he was hitting me. Like, of playing that, now you want to kick me out? So kick this now. He ended up telling my family, which is on his side, my grandma and my grandpa, them, because I loved them, and he ended up telling them, I guess, that I was a bad child, I was disrespectful, I was talking back. Y'all keep in mind, none of that was going on. How I know it ended up being said, because while I'm out there living at my god sister house and stuff like that, I finally got a chance to where I got a chance to talk to them, and they was like, well, you know how people will easily side with the adults. So now I'm back up under the exact type of same lies of what was going on when I was in the house with my grandma. I'm looking like, God dang, I would have never expected it from him, because I look up to him. I'm talking about look up to him. Your dad is your girl first love. So I'm looking like, that's your protector. Like, he gonna teach you things. Not understanding I was gonna have to defend myself from the lies he was telling too. I'm looking like, so I'm on the phone with them, so happy to talk to them. They giving me the news of, well, I heard that you're doing this right here and blah blah blah. And I'm looking like, what? Now, one thing about it, me and my grandpa, me and my grandpa, we was very close. When I tell you I love that man, and he's still here with me. Hey, grandpa. Hey, grandpa. But when I tell you that man there, he always made sure to come through on my behalf, regardless. I'm talking about regardless when it came to, because they live away in Tennessee, they live further. So, and we in Georgia, so that's how it went. And regardless of how my grandma or anybody else took it, when I talked to my granddaddy, he automatically put me in a place of feeling calm, feeling okay. But when I talked to my grandma about it, whatever, because they used to always come to Georgia to visit us too. I always came to visit and always bought me a gift and different stuff like that. But he lied to them people and told them people that I was being disrespectful, y'all, and didn't want to listen. So it automatically triggered something within me, to where the same trigger that I had when I was living with my grandparents, as in when I told the adults, they're going to believe what another adult say rather than they lying or telling the truth. That don't mean I was so perfect, no, but a child gonna be a child, and that's what I did as a child, just be a child. So it automatically really put me back into that place, that mental space as a child, that dang. So I ain't even try to plead my case with it. I just automatically let the lie stood. I'm looking like, oh wow. So that really bothered me on the inside. So me being me, as they call it now, it's called alchemizing, but I didn't know that's what was going on. So I literally was like, you know what? At the end of the day, it is what it ain't. I still got me, and I got to go to school. But I love y'all. Talk to y'all later. And I used to try to reach out to my dad while I would literally, y'all, my god sisters live across the street in another set of apartments across from him. I would try to go to on those apartments to see if he home. He never was home. Keep in mind, he wasn't ever home when I was there. So I used to be at a friend house or at his girlfriend houses with their kids, have to babysit or watch them too. So um so I would go across the street, try to see if he home or whatever, to see if I could see him, because at this point I still wasn't holding grudges. I would go across the street to try to see him. He still wasn't home or something like that. I try to call. He'd be like, well, I'm busy. He can't talk or something like that. He was like, he never stayed home, that's his choice. That's his prerogative. He didn't have to be home because I wasn't there. So long story short, when it came time to graduating, I made it all the way until, well, I got all the way to graduation, y'all, and was short one credit. One credit from walking across the stage at that given time. So graduation was in May at that time. Yeah, it was in May. So I found a school. I looked up a school back where my mom was living at, and I looked up a school to where I can go to get that one credit. So I was so proud of me, because despite how anything that was going on, to where I was basically like in between homes, because we ain't claiming homeless over here, in between homes, I still made it through with the help of the Most High. I still was able to get up and have that discipline to go to school and only be short one credit from walking. So I found a school that would take me and let me get that one credit. The only thing was I could not walk that May. I just was going to have to wait to December in the same year. So it's still 2003. I just had to wait until December rather than May. I was like, cool, I still get a chance to walk, because I was in school for my dual enrollment. I had dual seals, which was vocational and college prep. So I was able to still obtain it through going to the school that I went to, in order to get that one credit that I was missing. And instead I ended up with 3 more credits, 2 more extra than what I needed, and when it was time to walk at the end of the school year, at the end of that year. So check this now. I ended up reaching out to my dad, y'all, and I was like, Dad, I really want you to come to the graduation. So keep in mind, I kept trying to call him and stuff like that. He would ignore the phone calls, different stuff like that throughout the year. So when graduation did come around, I was ready to like celebrate. I was happy. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to my dad, and I'm gonna see if my dad can come. Like, Dad, I'm so happy, can you come to my graduation? He was like, well, congratulations. And okay, well, I ain't gonna be able to be there, I'm gonna be busy, blase blase. Okay, cool. So that really hurted me that he couldn't, hurted me. Ooh, that's the country coming out now. But it really hurt me that he couldn't be there. So I was like, well, dang, he can't come. Not understanding this was gonna end up being a pattern with every accomplishment that I set out to do. Any type of award ceremonies or anything that I ever accomplished, he never showed up. Check that. So, which was still a part of the enemy, still part of the plan. So I guess if he would have shown up to my graduation, it would have proved the lies that he was telling to the family members that really couldn't see or talk to me on a daily basis. It would prove his lies to be told not to be true, would be false. It'll make him a liar. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't see it back then. So I still didn't hate the man. I still had love for him. Still just wanted a real relationship with my dad. But I found myself doing more than what I was supposed to be doing as a child. But I was so stuck with traditional, the way of how they say, like, you need to make sure you're doing what the parents say and doing this right here and honor that parent and trying to prove and make him so happy. I still was in the side of a box of being fragile. I still wasn't complete free. Not meaning that I needed to be in a disrespectful space or place. It's just the fact that I was still being what they wanted me to be and not who the Most High was calling me to be, which was my individual self. Meaning to be who I am, And it bothered many people because who I am, my light shines bright. God ain't made for me to be inside no box. That don't mean I need to be out here, hey! But if that's how God want me to be, then that's what I'm going to do. If God, the Most High source say high, we doing what? How high? But my bubbly personality and my bright light, because it was helping to others, it made many of people, even people that was in the family, it made them want to dim my light, to stop my shine, to hold me down in a type of way of emotional, emotional damage and stuff like that, like, you know, just trying to emotional abuse. Okay, emotional abuse, that's what was actually going on. And over time I started looking at it throughout life. When I graduated from college, when I was doing different stuff, hey, can you come come to the thing? And it started being in a pattern of no, I got something to do. Keep in mind, this is a man that was literally like moving how he wanted to move. He can go to the Legion, he can go do everything he wanted to do. That's not for me to judge how you spend your time, but I'm just like, make this make sense. If I'm your child and I'm doing more of the reach out, it got to the point to where over time I started noticing patterns of, you will never want to show up to any of the accomplishments. You will never want to show up to me getting my degrees or different stuff like that. But in the same actuality, in turn, you will always want to know what's going on. He will always want to know. To me, I started paying attention, and I felt like the Most High and Holy Spirit started dealing with me to show me like, hey, this is what you consider a monitoring spirit. Check that. A monitoring spirit and a handling. Think about it. Because anytime that I was trying to express and want to speak on it, and it got to the point to where I was like, Daddy, this is what happened. Now, keep in mind now, all this time I was living there, and now I'm out the house, and now I'm speaking on it to him like, hey, this is what happened to me. Because now I'm at a place to where I'm very confident now at the point to where I want to talk about it. So I'm like, Daddy, this is what happened, and this right here. That don't happen to many people before. So you'll get over it. I don't really want to hear it because, boy, that'll just make me, I'm looking like, I don't really want to hear because that don't happen to many people before. You'll get over it. That's what I was told. So now that I'm at this age where I'm at, I look back on it. I see where the enemy was still trying to make me go back into that place, because I had got all the way out the place of being quiet, holding my voice, because the enemy don't want you to speak. They try to silence you and want you to stay in that silent place. But that's not what God intended for me to stay. God wanted me to speak. And it was going to come a time where I needed to speak in order to help others, to help free themselves too, to find their inner voice, to be able to be free, to set themselves free so that they can heal and be light as a feather. The Most High wants us to be so light as a feather, but in order to do so, we have to take accountability. We have to be able to face those things that really troubled us on the inside, because it's not going to be easy, but that do not mean that you can't get through it. So often people look at me and they misjudge. And oftentimes people want to misjudge me on purpose, and that's fine too. I ain't here to try to convince nobody. My truth is my truth, and I'm going to stand on it 10 toes down. You get what I'm saying? And I look back over life and I seen where the enemy always try to have his hand to make me silence again, to shut me back up. Because anytime it was something that I wanted to celebrate with the main people I want to celebrate with, they didn't want to celebrate it with me. And it was supposed to make me feel some type of way. Check that. That's what I mean by handlers. You always want to know what's going on. You want to monitor everything, but you will never show up for it. Okay? So it got to the point to where I just started moving like this. I tell you what, I won't even deal at all now. Anytime I ever needed something, then I would call. And I'm talking about, he would, like, keep in mind, when you go through different traumas in your life, when it comes to past things, it make it really hard for you to depend on people or ask people for anything. Okay, so you kind of struggle a little bit more, because you be like, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna just depend on God, and we're gonna work this out. And I'll go without things that I really don't need, to make sure, like, I ain't got to have it. Like, I can wait on and wait for the Most High to do it. It got me in that point to where that's even toxic too, because it made me get so dependent on myself. I was failed when it came to protection, what I was supposed to experience of what you're supposed to feel from the male in the family. You get what I'm saying? So it put you in a place to where you feel abandonment. Everything I went through was supposed to make me feel in a way of feeling like I'm abandonment, which was trying to put that orphan spirit on you. So y'all pray against the orphan spirit. Rebuke that mess up off of you and let it go back to where it need to go to, because you are not an orphan. That was the feeling that they wanted me to feel. But see, God said, no, baby, we ain't doing that over here, okay? Because your time is now, and your time is to shine, okay? I had to also give grace in a point to where, now that I'm aware and I'm back and I'm better, I'm able to see it spiritually now of what's actually going on. I'm able to see the type of entity that's attached to you that don't jump to that person, that don't jump to that person, that's still connected, that's within the family. And now I see what it is that you're trying to do, because my divine ancestors of high vibrational and the Most High, the divine creator, making sure that I see what it is. Because I see the exact same type of way that you responded. I see the exact type of way that your eyes look when I speak. So I'm paying attention. I know what's up now. I really do. And your job was try to silence somebody or make somebody not speak. Make them go through this right here to have so much hurt to it keep them clam up. So for anybody out there that feel like they've been made to silence and they can't really free themselves, and you don't know how and you don't know where to begin, baby, you begin by first loving yourself. You begin by cutting people off that cause you to feel this way. It's okay to let them go, but I had to give them grace in the sense of, I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to deal with you, because you're going to continue that pattern to try to continue to keep me in that place that's unhealthy and that's toxic. I had to follow the pattern and see where the drip of the line go. But you also have to be honest and authentic about it so that God can help to free you from it. Okay, now I know that this is what's going on. Yeah, this might be a parent. Yes, this might be a close loved one. Yeah, this might be such and such, but a title don't make you who you are. Your heart integrity and your your intentions about things make you who you are. I stopped giving out titles to people, because titles ain't nothing but just merely titles when you looking at what's within them and what's operating within them. You get what I'm saying? Ain't no disrespect, but I forgive you because you're unhealed. Y'all have to forgive people. Don't mean, like I said it before, don't mean you have to deal with them, but forgive them for yourself. Meaning that I have to look at the deeper, what's really going on. Okay, you couldn't show up for me in this type of way because a lot of time our parents were made to not speak on anything. And that's what helped me to free myself from holding him accountable or holding anybody accountable that did something wrong to me as a child, of the adults that failed me. It helped me to set myself free because I had to understand that it's deeper than what you see that meets the eye. They was made to hush just like you're trying to hush. And because they went through life with picking up even more, they picked up even more spirits, they started picking up even more bad habits. They was made to pick up even more of entities, attachments to them. Because a lot of our parents and stuff in their 60s and 70s and stuff, or 80s, they didn't have nobody that allowed them to speak out, to let them fully heal. So they had to do things in the tradition way to stay stuck and do the exact same thing that's supposed to have been okay. So they didn't know how to. And I had to give grace. God allowed me to look at them people and give them grace, because I put myself, that's why it also hurt my heart, because I see the child that's within people, and I see the child that's within my dad. I see the child that was within the matriarch of the family that did that, that was mean, and the people that did stuff that just was awful toward me. I was able to see in them that they are broken. Something within them is wrong, to where they have the attachment of vessels that's coming on them that's causing this type of riffraff, what they're trying to do to me. So it's not them that's doing it to me, it's the entity that operate within the people that's still trying to do it to me. That don't give them an excuse to do what they doing, because God's still going to give them theirs too. And judgment day is here. Judgment day is here. The Most High judgment day is here. The karma, the punishments is here. The punishments been coming. But now some real deal things are fit to go on. And to each his own. You have to heal. Those that wrong people, y'all have to heal. Forgive yourself. Give yourself grace and heal from it. Like, go within and fix some issues. And I know it's harder for the ones that's way older, because it's done been instilled in them so long. How can you break something that done became a habit that they do day in and day out? You got people that's in relationships that not even happy, to why they had outside kids and different stuff, because it goes so deep into how they are trapped in the box. We limit ourselves and we put God into a box. And God is like, I made y'all to be different. I made you to be the one that's outside the family. And I don't care who gets upset with my story, because my story is helping to not only free me, my story frees other people. My story frees my ancestors that came before me. My story helps to free the lineage that come after me. So if that mean that we over here breaking generational curses by me telling stories of my childhood, because I'm gonna stand 10 toes and speak my truth, and some people gonna get pissed off about it, well, baby, you can be pissed off about it. I'm always gonna do what the Most High asked me to do. You get what I'm saying? Because so many people need to know that they're not the only ones that's been made to silence, that they have a voice, that they still got to find that voice. Get you, baby, blue is the color for the throat chakra. Blue. Go outside and stand up under the sun. Go hug you a tree, baby. Get you a blue candle, and you go to speaking that I can say my truth with integrity. I can speak my truth, and people will hear my truth, and people will heal and be inspired from my truth, so that they too can find a way to heal. Because so often we look at people that seem like they got it all together and they got this and that, and like they ain't never been through nothing. And kudos to the families that, you know, somebody in your family, before you come over here and judge how I choose to tell my story, you have so many people that don't came before you that was in your family that had to do something that was outrageous that other people didn't approve of, that set you free to why you're able to live without going through so many harsh things as other people. So before you toot your nose up, before you have an attitude, before you look down on other people that seem like their family don't have it together, somebody had to set your family free in order for y'all to have that good karma that was moving forward. Somebody had to do something that was not in the box in order to break y'all free. So pay homage to your divine ancestors of the highest purest light, known and unknown. Because somebody had to break it to where you don't have to struggle and go through what you're going through today. Okay? So, y'all, I enjoyed talking to y'all today. We got many more things that we'll be doing over here at Lucky Gray Cosmetics. But I just came over here to tell that story because it's going to help encourage and inspire somebody to not give up, to go within, so that you can still get your inner glow. Because your story need to be told too. You're beautiful. You know, and you don't have to tell your story through a way of how I'm telling it. You need to be set free so that music that you love to make, you can make it. The songs that you like to write, you can write it. The book that you want to write, you can write that book, okay? If you choose to want to start back swimming and singing, and however the Most High use you to bring your word forth in truth, so that you can free yourself, to have your inner child free. That child is within you, ready to be free, but nobody else can set that child free but you. So if that means that you're not a healer, meaning that you can't heal yourself, because some healers can heal themselves. If you can't do it for yourself, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, because oftentimes you're going to feel like, oh, I'm going to go tell somebody in the family and they're going to shut you down. If you ain't ready to share your story, don't. You ain't got to share it with them. You can use your insurance and go share your story with a therapist. You ain't even got to go into the building no more, y'all. Y'all can literally get on the phone and y'all can do text message and video chats now. Yes, Zoom calls for therapy. Zoom call for therapy. It was me and the good old Most High that's been rocking and going this long strong. So we got many other things that's going to be coming from Lucky Gray Cosmetics, but that's just one of the things I want to help people dive deep so that they can set themselves free, and so that y'all can get that glow of a lifetime, you know? And I will be talking to y'all soon. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful day. And, over here at Lucky Gray, we got a beautiful day. Over here at Lucky Gray, we got a beautiful day. Talk to y'all soon, okay? Talk to you later.